You know that feeling, like you're constantly being pulled in, I don't know, a million different directions.
Oh, yeah.
Notifications buzzing, emails just piling up, social media always there. It's this constant hum, right? Of
Mhm.
this hyper-connected world we're in.
It really is. It's like our brains are just caught in this endless game of whack-a-mole.
Exactly. It's exhausting.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And, our attention is probably our most valuable resource,
Mhm.
but in this environment, it's just getting fragmented into these tiny, kind of unhelpful pieces.
Mm.
I think most people don't even realize how much control they've actually lost over it.
That's such a perfect way to put it. So today we're doing a deep dive into a concept that really promises to cut through all that noise. Something that could genuinely transform how you work, how you learn, and frankly, just how you live.
Right.
We're talking about deep work,
Mm-hmm.
based on the work by Cal Newport.
A really powerful idea.
Totally. So our mission today really is to pull out the most crucial, the most actionable insights from his stuff. We want to guide you through, what deep work actually is, why it's not just like a nice to have, but pretty essential now. What stops us from doing it, the enemies of focus, and then crucially, the practical hands-on strategies to actually build this skill.
Yeah, the goal here for you is basically a shortcut to mastering focus.
Yeah.
Without getting totally bogged down in all the information that usually comes with trying to learn something big like this.
Right. Less noise, more signal.
Exactly. This isn't just about piling on more information. It's about distillation, finding the core of it.
Because, look, understanding this stuff, it isn't just about ticking off more tasks on your to-do list. Newport makes this really compelling case. He argues that embracing deep work gives you this massive, almost kind of unfair advantage.
A competitive edge.
Yeah, in a competitive world, learning faster than you thought you could, producing work that's genuinely high quality, work that stands out, it's almost like a superpower, isn't it?
It really is framed that way.
So let's get into it. Let's unpack this. What exactly is deep work, according to Newport?
Well, what's really striking is how clearly he defines it. Deep work, fundamentally, is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task.
Okay, cognitively demanding. So the hard stuff?
Exactly. This is where you're pushing your brain, to its limits. Think about it. It's where your best thinking happens, your most significant learning, your most complex problem solving.
Right.
This kind of work, it doesn't just feel productive. It actually creates significant lasting value. Value that's, frankly, hard for other people to just replicate easily.
So we're talking about things like those intense blocks of time you spend writing a book, maybe,
Yeah.
or a really detailed report.
Yes, or coding something complex.
Designing a business strategy from scratch, maybe, or really diving deep into learning a new difficult skill, like, I don't know, advanced programming or even a new language.
Precisely. Those tasks that leave you feeling like you've genuinely built something significant at the end of the day. And he contrasts this very sharply with what he calls shallow work.
Ah, okay, the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So if deep work is that intense, focused creation, what's shallow work then? What does that look like? Especially maybe the less obvious forms.
That's a great question because, yet it's not always immediately obvious. Shallow work refers to those non-demanding tasks, the stuff you often do while you're distracted.
Okay.
So beyond the usual suspects, like just scrolling through social media, it includes things like constantly checking email, right?
Guilty.
Yeah, we all are. Or attending meetings that, let's be honest, don't have a clear purpose or agenda. Or just switching rapidly between lots of small, easy tasks just to feel like you're busy.
Busy work.
Exactly. The core issue with shallow work is its low cognitive demand. It's easy to replicate, doesn't create much unique value, and critically, while it eats up your time, it leaves you feeling, well, exhausted, but not truly productive.
And the big problem, as Newport points out, is that for most people, our days are just completely dominated by this shallow stuff.
Yeah.
We're just running on this hamster wheel, burning energy, but without much real meaningful output to show for it. And it leaves so little room for that deep, concentrated effort we actually need.
Yeah. And if you zoom out a bit, connect this to the bigger picture. Newport argues that to really thrive, especially in today's economy, you need two core abilities.
Yeah.
First, the ability to learn hard things quickly. And second, the ability to produce at an elite level. Quality and quantity, in a sense. Learn fast, produce high quality.
Right. And that really raises the key question, how on earth do you develop and leverage both of those skills in a world that's just constantly fighting for your attention?
And the answer, the core insight he offers, is deep work.
It's it.
If you can actually train yourself to concentrate intensely, learn faster, you get this undeniable edge. It's huge.
Yeah.
While everyone else is flitting between tasks, constantly distracted,
Yeah.
you're the one building truly valuable skills and creating work that's top tier. It makes you incredibly valuable, really, no matter what field you're in. Which naturally brings us to the biggest roadblock, the major impediment to deep work. This distraction crisis we're all living through.
Yeah.
Our digital habits, I mean, they're often designed specifically to maximize engagement, right? But in doing that, they're actively undermining our ability to focus.
Oh, it's so true. Those social media alerts, the email pings, switching between like a dozen browser tabs, it feels like our devices are almost designed to make sustained concentration impossible sometimes. My brain feels like a pinball machine.
And what's really concerning here is not just that it's annoying. Newport suggests something much more insidious is happening.
No.
He argues we're actively training our brains to be distracted. Think about it like paving a neural pathway for instant gratification.
Yeah.
The more often you give in to that urge to switch tasks, check your phone, whatever it is, the stronger that mental distraction highway becomes. It makes it harder and harder to actually take the focus off ramp when you need to go deep.
Wow. So we're essentially rewiring ourselves for constant interruption, making focused attention a rarer skill. That's pretty sobering when you put it like that.
It is.
And Newport has this quote, it really cuts through it all. Clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not.
Hmm. That quote really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It underscores the fundamental problem. So many of us just don't realize how much of our valuable time is actually being sunk into low-value tasks.
Right.
We fill our days with busy work because, well, it feels productive, but without that clarity on our real priorities, we completely lose sight of what actually moves the needle forward.
Yeah.
It's that classic difference between just being active
Yeah.
and actually being effective.
So, okay, this is the reality, this tidal wave of distraction. How do we fight back? How do we actually start cultivating deep work? Thankfully, Newport doesn't just diagnose the problem, he gives us a plan. 4 really practical rules.
Yes, a battle plan is a good way to put it.
So the first one, simple idea, but maybe tough to execute. Work deeply.
Rule number 1. And this rule really emphasizes the need for rituals and routines. It's critical. The key innovate here, I think, especially for people who already try to focus, is that deep work isn't just about, gritting your teeth and trying harder.
Right.
It's about systematically designing your environment and your schedule to make concentration almost inevitable.
Okay, designing for focus. I like that. So what are some practical ways to do that?
Well, things like setting specific, non-negotiable deep work hours, maybe, say, 2 hours every morning, just dedicated to that intense focus. No interruptions allowed.
Like blocking it out on your calendar as if it's the most important meeting of the day.
Exactly. Treat it like that. And for someone just starting out, maybe a small first step. Establish a deep work signal.
A signal.
Yeah, a simple ritual that tells your brain, okay, it's focus time now. Could be brewing a specific kind of tea, putting on noise-canceling headphones, physically moving to a particular chair or room.
Creating a trigger.
Precisely. And you have to be disciplined about using distraction blockers, like actually turn off the phone, use website blockers if you need to, maybe even physically go somewhere. Those distractions just aren't available.
Removing temptation.
And crucially, track how much deep work you're actually doing. What gets measured often gets improved, even just, say, 2 to 4 hours a day of genuine, focused, deep work. That can dramatically set you apart.
Okay, that makes sense. Build the structure. Right, rule number 2. This one feels a bit weird in our always-on world. Embrace boredom.
Yeah, this one's often surprising. It's a counterintuitive insight, right?
Yeah.
Because modern life has basically conditioned us to fill every single spare moment with some kind of input or entertainment.
Totally. Waiting in line, check your phone, commercial break, grab a tablet.
Exactly. We've kind of lost the ability to just sit and think, or even just be present without some external stimulus hitting us. And Newport argues this constant input actually weakens our focus muscle.
Okay, so the antidote is, what? Just stare into space.
Well, sort of. The idea is to actively resist that knee-jerk urge to check your phone the second you feel a twinge of boredom.
Okay.
Maybe take internet-free walks just to let your mind wander and mull over a problem without needing an immediate answer. Even practicing meditation without an app, just focusing on one idea or problem for a few minutes. That helps.
So what's like the smallest, easiest step someone could take here to start embracing boredom without it feeling, I don't know, overwhelming?
Start really small. Maybe commit to just a 5-minute mind-wandering session while you're waiting for your coffee
Hmm.
or during your commute. Make a conscious effort not to reach for your device.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, this active resistance to distraction, this deliberate embracing of stillness, it directly strengthens your ability to focus when it really counts later on. Think of it like mental reps in a gym. Even short ones build strength over time.
Mental reps. I like that. Okay, rule number 3. This one. This one often gets a strong reaction from people. It's phrased pretty bluntly. Quit social media.
Mm-hmm. That one
Yeah.
definitely raises eyebrows.
Yeah. So, okay, before everyone panics and deletes their Instagram, Newport isn't necessarily saying you have to go completely off the grid.
Right, not necessarily total hermit mode. What he's really challenging you to do is be profoundly intentional about it.
Intentional.
Yeah, instead of just defaulting to using every platform or using them purely out of habit, FOMO, whatever,
Hmm.
you should ask yourself 2 really critical questions for each social media tool you use.
Okay, what are they?
First, is this tool truly helping me achieve my most important goals? Professional or personal, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but your most important goals.
Keyword, truly.
Exactly. And second, is the benefit I get from this tool significantly greater than the very real cost it exacts in my attention, my focus, and my time? Really weigh that cost benefit.
That's actually a really fair framework. If your business relies on, say, LinkedIn, fine, it's serving a clear goal. But for a lot of us, a lot of platforms are just, well, time and attention sinks, aren't they?
They absolutely can be.
So why is it so hard for people to actually cut back or quit, even when they kind of know it's draining them?
Well, I think the difficulty lies in how cleverly these platforms are designed. The hooks, the variable rewards, the deep-seated habit loops they create.
Yeah, the dopamine hits.
Exactly. Social media taps right into our fundamental needs for connection, for novelty, for social validation. So quitting isn't just about deleting an app. It's about breaking a really deeply ingrained behavioral pattern. It takes effort.
Mm.
Newport even suggests trying, say, a 30-day social media detox, just as an experiment, to truly assess its value in your life, or lack thereof. You might be pretty surprised at what you don't miss, and maybe rediscover what a quieter mind actually feels like.
A 30-day challenge. Interesting. Okay, and the final rule, number 4, drain the shallows. This tackles the problem that for so many people, their calendars are just jammed full of low-value, shallow tasks,
Right.
leaving no space for the deep stuff.
Exactly. That endless stream of meetings, the non-urgent emails that pile up, the little administrative chores that make you feel busy but don't actually move the important projects forward.
Yeah, the busy work again.
Right. So Newport suggests some specific protective strategies for your deep work time. First, schedule your deep work first. Proactively block it out on your calendar, and then let the shallow work fit in around it. Treat that deep work block like a non-negotiable appointment with yourself, your most important appointment.
Protect that time ruthlessly.
Absolutely. And beyond just scheduling, you need some strategies to actually reduce the amount of shallow stuff that inevitably tries to creep in.
Okay, like what?
Well, you need to get better at proactively saying no to low-value commitments. Ask yourself, does this meeting really need me? Could this email be answered with a quick template?
Mm-hmm. Be more critical.
And apply the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
Identify the 20% of your tasks that are generating 80% of your meaningful results, and be ruthless about deprioritizing or delegating the rest.
Focus on the high-impact stuff.
Exactly. And another great tactic is batching similar shallow tasks together. Like, maybe do all your email processing in one single 30-minute block each day, instead of letting email notifications interrupt you constantly.
Yeah, stop the constant context switching.
Precisely. The goal here, it's important to note, isn't to eliminate shallow work entirely. Some of it is just necessary, unavoidable.
Right.
The goal is simply to minimize it, to consciously drain that pool of low-value tasks so that your deep work can actually have the space it needs to flourish.
Okay, those 4 rules are super practical. Work deeply, embrace boredom, quit social media, or be intentional, and drain the shallows. Beyond those, Newport also touches on some bonus ideas for sustaining deep work long term. One fascinating one is this idea of rhythms of deep work.
Ah, yes, the rhythms. It's a great point because deep work isn't one size fits all, which is honestly a relief.
Totally.
He outlines 4 different philosophies, basically, for how you can structure deep work into your life, acknowledging the different jobs and lifestyles need different approaches.
So what are they?
Okay, first there's the monastic approach. This is like the extreme version. You completely cut yourself off from shallow concerns. Think like a novelist hiding away in a cabin to write. Very intense.
Right, but probably not feasible for most people.
Probably not. Then there's the bimodal approach. This is where you divide your time into distinct chunks. Maybe you have days or weeks dedicated purely to deep work, completely unavailable, and then other periods where you're fully engaged in the shallow stuff. Common for academics, maybe consultants.
Okay, splitting time significantly.
Then the rhythmic philosophy. This is probably the most popular and practical for many. It's about establishing a regular daily habit, like dedicating the first 2 hours of every morning to deep work, making it a consistent rhythm.
The daily habit approach.
Exactly. And finally, there's the journalistic method. This is where you train yourself to switch into deep work mode whenever you find a free moment in your schedule, like a journalist on a deadline. Newport notes, though, that this one is the hardest to do well consistently because it requires intense mental discipline.
Right? Requires a lot of on-demand focus. So how does someone figure out which rhythm is best for them?
Well, it often comes down to uh, honest experimentation
Mm.
and a really brutal self-assessment of your actual work demands and your life commitments.
Mm-hmm.
The key takeaway really is just to find a rhythm that genuinely works for your specific situation and then commit to it. Like,
Mm.
really commit. Don't try to force a monastic life if your job requires constant collaboration.
Okay.
Find your sustainable rhythm.
That makes sense. Find your fit. And building on that, another really crucial point he makes is that willpower. Well, it's a finite resource, isn't it?
Absolutely. It runs out.
So you can't just rely on feeling motivated to show up for deep work every single day. You need systems.
Exactly. Don't just hope for a burst of motivation. It's unreliable. Instead, build robust systems that essentially automate your deep work habits as much as possible.
Automate the habit.
Things like time blocking your day in advance. Explicitly schedule those deep work hours like they're unbreakable appointments. Use those rituals we talked about, same time, same place, same steps, to trigger your brain into focus mode.
Make it automatic.
Yes, these systems create a consistent structure, an environment where deep work is more likely to happen almost on autopilot, even when your willpower is low. And there's a powerful Newport quote that really drives this home. If you don't produce, you won't thrive, no matter how skilled or talented you are.
Oof. Yeah.
It's fundamentally about the output, the results, not just about being busy or having potential. Systems help guarantee that output.
So wrapping this all up.
Yeah.
What does this really mean for you listening right now? Ultimately, deep work, it isn't just about, churning out more stuff or even just boosting productivity numbers. It feels like it's about something deeper.
It absolutely is. It's about cultivating a richer sense of meaning and mastery in what you do, both in your work and, I think, in your life more broadly.
Yeah.
When you really commit to working deeply, consistently, you don't just get more done, you learn faster. You produce work that's genuinely higher quality, the kind that really sets you apart.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just as importantly, you tend to feel a greater sense of satisfaction, of fulfillment from your efforts. It demands discipline, no doubt about it, but it really can be, as you said earlier, a superpower in this increasingly distracted world we live in.
Taking back control.
Exactly. Taking back control of your attention and through that, your time, and ultimately the trajectory of your life and career.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with. In this world where distraction really is the default setting, what's maybe one single micro habit, something small you could introduce starting today to begin reclaiming just a little bit of that focus, to start unlocking your own deep potential, not just for productivity's sake, but for that greater sense of meaning and mastery in your life?
What's that first small step you can take?